This video is lesson 3 of our Excel series. At first I thought I would go out to YouTube and try to find one that would meet the needs so you wouldn't have to listen to me all the time. But I either found that they were too complicated or, well, one of the good ones was in German. I just don't think that would work out. So I decided to instead um, use our Girl Scout cookie sale worksheet to illustrate a very important concept called absolute referencing, as opposed to relative referencing or relative addressing. Before we do that, just a couple of things. If you were to come down here and increase the view percentage, you might end up with the infamous pound signs indicating that the column isn't wide enough. I would recommend that before a presentation of any sort that you check this out at different view percentages. There is a trick. It's not perfect because, well, you'll see. Right mouse button, format cells, pick alignment, and then down here, this is really cool. I learned this from a student. Shrink to fit. And then no matter what your view percentage, it will show. Now, if you have a really huge number in a really narrow column, it's going to be a little bitty looking number, okay? So you have to be reasonable about it. So that's the part that wasn't quite perfect that I was implying. But if you have one of these situations where it keeps bouncing back and forth between pound signs and not, then that's a nice cure for it. You don't need any extra stress while you're giving a presentation. All right, let's scoot this up and let's put our view percentage back down a little bit. There we go. Remember this formula? We took the total number of boxes per girl and multiply it by 3 1/4 to get the total amount that was due. Hopefully at the time some of you said, isn't that a little short-sighted because the price of the cookies could change next year, and now if we forget to change the formula, we'll have the wrong amount. You are right. If you were thinking of that, good for you. There is a way around that, and that would be to have something called an assumption area, where we put a cell that says what the price of the cookies is, or should it be cookies are, and then multiply it by that. So let's insert a blank row here. I'm going to left align that. Here's another little point. Earlier versions of spreadsheet software did not allow you to format as you entered the data. Then they decided, well, why not? It's a whole lot easier than going format cells, digging down through it. When it's something simple, just format it now. The only trouble with this one is that it is, as we can see up here, currency format, but the one down here is accounting format. I recommend that you keep them pretty much the same. There you can see the alignment at the right edge changed when I changed it to accounting. All right, enough of that. Let's change this to point to I3 instead of hard coding 3.25. I still get the same number. Now we know that if we copy down, we're going to need to do that thing about copy without changing the formatting. Oh, except, oh, this is not good, is it? Obviously something is wrong. Now, if I were to ask you during class, what's your first instinct? What would you do? Most of you would say, click undo. Well, you can't click undo until you know what the problem is. So let's go look at the first bad one and see. If I double click in here, there. It's multiplying H6 with the 40 times I4. Now, why did it do that? The reason is when we have relative addressing, we've got the 1 to the left times 2 above pattern, and when we copy, that's the pattern that gets copied. And so if we were to take a look at this one here, we see the same thing. It's going down, it's moving 1 down as we copy down. About now your brain should be saying, oh, there must be a way to turn that off so that I always would be using I3. And there is. Listen to your brain. If you have the idea that there should be a way to do this, you are probably right. And what we have to do is to be able to turn off the relative addressing part of it. Let me hit escape. No, let's not, because if I do that, I'll get out of the software. Let me go back up here. And which of these two was the problem, the H5 or the I3? The answer, of course, is the I3. Now, of I3, which part was the problem? Did I change to J as we copied down? No, it stayed at I. Did 3 change to 4 as we copied down? Yes, 3 changed to 4. Now I'm kind of hinting ahead toward lesson 4, but we'll just go back to the way you would do it when you have a situation like this. The $ in front of each piece of the cell address says, don't change that part when you copy it. So I think it took me 2 years to figure out to say that when I was teaching. Oh yes, when I was teaching at an insurance company, I taught this 25 times in 1 year and not quite as many the next year, but it did take me 2 years before I could walk into the classroom cold and lecture on this. So this is a difficult concept. It's worth your time to go over it several times so you at least understand it in your head. I had to talk through it, so that's a little bit different deal. I understood the concepts, but not how to say it. Anyhow, here's something you can try out. I cannot do that here because it will shut off, well, it'll make the software go crazy, the capture software. Function key F4 will type those $signs. Now look where the $sign is. It's on the number 4. So function key F4 will type those $signs, but there's 4 possibilities of the way it types it. So I would invite you to, when you're trying this out, press function key F4 and see how many different combinations of $signs you get. I'm going to have to type it, as I said, because this software won't let me. And I missed a step. I should have clicked undo because I've got all this formatting under here which I haven't thought about. Much better. And if I go here without formatting, it doesn't do anything because I already had formatting in there. But if I highlight these and pick my comma formatting, I'm back to normal. Okay, so take a look at this. H6 times I3, H7 times I3, and so forth. All right. The next thing we're going to do is to figure out what percentage of the total each girl contributed. So remember my little trick. Yeah, we probably want to do that manual line break thing. Remember that? Alt-Enter, Enter. A little bit better. Now, how do you figure out percentages? I was a math teacher, but geometry, which lines up mentally more with programming than I think algebra does, personal opinion. But my experience is that most people, other than the accountants and the serious mathematicians, have to think about percentages. Get yourself a logical pattern. Go take a look at the total and say 653, round it in your mind to 650 and say, well, if somebody had about $65, that would be 10%. Oh, look, Kathy Davis has double that, so her percentage would be about 20%. Let's see, the $74 would be a bit more than 10%, and the 130 is the biggest, so that everybody should be between 10 and 20%-ish. Okay, how do you find the percentage of the total? Equals that one divided by down, 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 down. Is that red hinting something to you? 13%. What's going to happen if I copy down? Oh, that same silly thing, because this time when I get to here, it's dividing by 0. So if I click undo, do you know what I need to do to this formula here to make it work? Yes, I need to put a $sign in front of each one of those items. And now if I copy down and we format it as percent with maybe 1 decimal place, sure enough we see our 130 is really close to 20% and everybody else's is between 10 and whatever. So that summarizes the basics of what you need to know about absolute addressing. Talk to you later. Bye.